Oi, oi, welcome to Mez's Sunday lunch.
Is that it? Is that all you got for us? I thought we were going to have a big long intro there, mate. A big
Well,
drum roll ahead of it.
Well, there was a weird beeping noise, and then I didn't know what was going on. So I just went. So that's why I paused for about 3 seconds before, and then I was like, best get in there, let's get on with it. Oi, oi, Mez's Sunday lunch.
Well, it'll do. It does the job. Welcome, everyone. We're back for the second monthly show where Mez and I talk absolute nonsense, play some songs, and you listen on a Sunday.
That's right, and I think we're both nursing big hangovers today. Is that right?
Yeah, that is true. So if it's not up to our usual standards of professionalism, that's the reason. Nothing to do with the fact that I'm just not very good. Yeah, exactly. Yesterday's pints, that was the issue.
Yesterday's pints, the bars were open again. It was sunny in Hull. I don't know about what the weather was like.
Sunny down here in London too. So it's the weather's fault, if anything.
That's what I mean. I was just going across for one little beer with my girlfriend to see my brother, and turned out I had a few more than one.
Lethal.
Right. I mean, it's been 3 months, isn't it? It's been 3 months, so since we've been in bar.
You can't be held responsible. Although I think realistically, because it's been so long, you only need 1 or 2 beers, don't you? And that's it. Off to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Tolerance
and I was
has gone
drinking,
right down.
I was drinking the fancy ones, and it got to my head.
Oh yeah. Getting too big for your boots, Mez.
Well, craft beer's the new champagne, isn't it? You know, not that I ever drink champagne, but
I was going to say, but you've switched from your vintage champagnes over to craft beer, have you?
Yeah, I switched from my French-bought champagne, obviously, and the craft beer. I think that makes me even more of a wanker, but oh well.
I think so. At least the same level, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So this month's show, because it's been so long since anyone's been able to go to a proper gig, and the two of us with our hangovers are thinking, God, I wish that was a hangover from a bit of live music instead of just the pub. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Mez a few questions about his perfect gig, his absolute best gig imaginable. And then we're going to play some songs, and by the end we should have a fully fleshed out idea of what Mez is looking for in a gig.
Oh, just imagine going to a gig. I mean, this gig that I'm going to think of in my head is going to be the best gig ever.
I'd go to anything now, I think. Honestly.
Well, that's the thing. I would. I'd even watch someone play harmonica, you know?
Just the harmonica.
Just the harmonica, and that's it, you know? While slapping his belly or something. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, the classic, yeah. The classic touring harmonica belly slapper.
Yeah, that would actually be a good gig. Maybe that could be part of this gig, but I don't know.
Well,
we'll
know
see.
Yet. Before we get into it, do you want to kick us off with a song for the month? Which track do you want to kick the show off with?
Yeah, cool. So let's kick off with The Nightmare by Pozi.
All right, there you have it. First track of the month. Why'd you pick that one, Mez?
As soon as the intro comes in, it's got like a backing like ooh vocal, and it's just real. It's real catchy, and it's quite summery. So it's a good way to kick off things. Nice little melody in there.
Buoy us up a bit after the dregs of the hangovers.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to play Slipknot.
It might have been a bit much.
It might have been a bit too much.
Just a little bit. Right, so my first question for you, Mez.
Go on then.
What time of year do you want this gig to be? What's the perfect time of year for a gig?
I think this is the first note I've got on my computer. I've actually made some notes this time, so, if this podcast is better than the last one, it's because of the notes. If it's worse, it's because of the notes.
Yeah, if it's worse, it shows you should just improvise.
But I was thinking, what are the best gigs? And I always think, that week just before Christmas where, like, everyone seems to be out and everyone seems to be buzzing around. Everyone's sort of like getting on it. I thought just the week before Christmas would really set the scene and get you in that party spirit for when Santa brings you some clementines. You know what I mean?
Sounds good. Would it be a festive theme in any way, or would it just be a normal gig that happens to be?
I mean, there'll be definitely. I mean, you wouldn't want to go to a gig at Christmas and it not look festive-y. So I'd imagine there would be festive decorations, at least some tinsel.
Are you pro covering Christmas songs or anti? Would Life ever cover Holly Jolly Christmas, for example?
I think, I'd give it a go. Whether we would be very good at, we've never really been very good at covers, but I'd definitely give a Christmas song a go. You never know, you make a lot of money from Christmas songs, and even if it's a cover, you can probably make it. So maybe we could write a Christmas song or just cover anything by Bing Crosby.
Just cover everything by Bing Crosby. Throw it all at the wall and see what sticks.
I only listen to Bing Crosby at Christmas. I have like a week of just listening to Bing Crosby.
the Bing week. I take it Bing Crosby won't be headlining the gig. We'll leave the actual headliner till later. We'll build up to it, but we can eliminate Bing.
I imagine his ghost would be there, just because I think he would like to party, and just to hear his voice in the audience heckling would be good.
And what venue is he going to be heckling from? What's your choice of venue?
I'd set this in my favourite UK venue, which is the Trades Club in Hebden Bridge. I'd fully recommend it. It's an amazing place run by a chap called Mal. It's a beautiful, beautiful venue, and like Hebden Bridge is my favourite place. When I die, I want to be scattered in Hebden Bridge just to make this gig more Christmassy. And
have you scattered from the rafters?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Hebden Bridge is beautiful. It's amazing. Like, it's in between Manchester and Leeds, and it's sort of like a little bohemian sort of, I guess a little town really. But yeah, it's amazing. If you ever get the chance to go, you should definitely go to Hebden Bridge and definitely check out the Trades Club.
What sort of capacity is it? How big is it?
Good one. I think we played there with Nadine Shah, so I imagine it's probably getting up to 500, I would say.
Okay, all right.
It's like an old working men's club, really, and you go up these stairs, and then just before you get into the venue, they serve sort of Vietnamese and Japanese and Thai food from a hatch, and then you go in, and that's the venue, and then the bar area's got like a pool room where you can play pool. So it's pretty cool, man. So it would be very vibing. It would be vibing at Christmas, I can tell you that.
Okay. Do you want to pick us another tune, and then we'll get back to that bar you just mentioned and have a chat about what sort of drinks we'll be serving?
All right. So this is by a band called Silverbacks, and it's called Dunkirk.
And high times, soldiers lost in Dunkirk, sunken castles and Advil underneath the arches of Dunkirk. My wife clipped me, she clipped me good. I hurt my soul in manhood, swinging arms, obedient commuters on the impassioned streets by Dunkirk, swinging arms, frustrated commuters.
What a tune! What a banger!
It is a banger, isn't it? It's been on the Six Music playlist quite a lot, so I've been getting into it quite a bit.
Yeah. I think they're getting a bit of traction, aren't they? I've been hearing them a lot. But yeah, I mean, well deserved. Great band.
Yeah, great song, that.
So, what's behind the bar, Mez? What are the drink options at your dream gig?
So, obviously, there's the usual bar stuff. So there's obviously the pumps and the lager and the beers and the cider and the spirits. But if we're talking like specific drinks, I mean,
it'd be a bit boring if we just said alcoholic drinks.
Yeah, exactly. But, right. So, and I'm really sort of like wanting to sort of where you can drink kind of locally. So in Hebden Bridge, there's a brewery called Vocation, and they do some amazing craft beer. So obviously it'd be stocked full of Vocation craft beer. There's a great one called Life and Death that's sort of like a 6.5% IPA, but it's a bit of a tasty tasty little bad boy.
We've just been through this mess. You can't be drinking the 6.5%. At your age, you end up with a hangover like today. Take it easy.
Yeah, this is true. So, well, they do a session ale. You know, they do a session ale. I think that one's called Dead Pony Club. So, I know that might be
Dead Pony
Brewdog.
Club.
But,
Yeah, that's the Brewdog one, isn't it? I was going to say,
yeah.
Unless they got the same name. But either way, it'll be on offer.
Vocation definitely do one, and so if it was stocked full of local craft beer from Vocation, I think the brewery's literally in Hebden Bridge, so there would be plenty of it. And then I thought, what else is better at Christmas where you want some kind of like cocktaily kind of inspired drink? So I think you can't really go wrong with spiced rum, Coke, loads of ice, and some mint, and just like
mint.
drink
Never had it with mint. Is that the festive twist?
Spiced rum and Coke with mint? Come on,
no,
you've had spiced rum and Coke.
I normally drink. I drink spiced rum and ginger beer. That's my drink of choice if I'm drinking a spirit.
You could have mint and ginger goes, doesn't it?
I don't know. I've just never thought of it. I never thought of adding mint to it. Obviously, a mojito has the mint. I'm aware of that.
The
spiced rum.
Have mint. But yeah, spiced rum, Coke, and mint. Honestly, it's a juicy number.
But last month you recommended a sandwich that sounded like just the worst thing I've ever heard. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be trusting you, to be honest.
You like spiced rum and you like Coke, but if you add some mint in there, that is a zinger.
All right, I'll give it a go.
You should give it a go. And then I thought also another good drink would be an old fashioned. So it's just literally like, is it just whiskey and a bit of sugar syrup or something and a big
something
rock
like
of
that,
ice?
yeah.
Yeah, so like that's quite festive, isn't it? So like if we're all drinking that, then the gig will be even better because you'll be in some kind of like whiskey high. So I was thinking, definitely old fashioned, spiced rum and Coke, local craft beer, and some gone off cider.
Of course, yeah.
You've got to have cider in a venue, haven't you? I mean, I'm not a big cider drinker, but I just feel like some people
what
go
happens
to gigs.
If Steve Lamacq turns up unbidden, he needs a strongbow to get him through.
Exactly, and as we said last time when we were at the best thing ever, and it was just me, you, and Steve Lamacq, we've got to cater for him, and he would definitely be at the gig, right?
Well, it's your dream gig. If you want Lamo there with the ghost of Bing Crosby, arm in arm, drinking a cider, he can be there.
Yeah. Well, actually, Lamo would be the perfect DJ, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
he did that. He did that at Rockaway Beach, which is what we did talk about last time. So let's just get Lamo to DJ between bands.
That was 2 hours, wasn't it, from 1 till 3 a.m. And I remember by the end of that, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And then he's just up there. He's fine. He's like over twice my age, and he's just up there like, yeah, I can do another hour if you want. Anyone want another hour?
He's godlike, isn't he? That's the difference, isn't it?
Absolute madness.
You're obviously not godlike like Lamo.
Oh, well, not yet. I'm building up to it.
Not yet. Obviously, after these podcasts get a lot of traction.
Once I'm famous, once we're touring the UK together, doing our podcast, hosting afternoons.
We might DJ for about 7 hours. And I tell you what, we'll be drinking spiced rum, Coke, and mint. I can tell you that now.
What mainstream, if you had to have one like supermarket lager on offer, what would be your lager of choice?
Oh, I always have this conversation with Mick, like, what's a good go-to, pint of piss? And I guess I mean, it's a tricky one, but I don't mind a bit of a cheeky Tuborg, especially if it's like a ring pull and it's like, I don't even need a bottle opener for this. I'll get a cheeky Tuborg.
Yeah, weird that they're the only ones that have ever done that. I always find that odd. They like invented it and everyone went, yeah, cool, but we're not going to do it.
I know, but it's so much easier because even those twist caps, right? I cut my hand on twist caps every time I have a twist cap beer.
Yeah.
Budweiser do twist caps and I cut my hand all over them. I'd rather just get my teeth on it,
It's bad for you, mate. Bad for your dental health. Dork does not recommend opening bottles with your teeth.
No, obviously not. So Tuborg would be a good one. If I was in the market for a shandy, which I never normally am, but if I was, a Foster's shandy was always good back in the day. Yeah. Maybe those two cheap ones.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Those are the ones at the end. If you don't want to get fancy with it, you just think like, what's the cheapest lager? Those two.
Those two. There you go. Still does the job, doesn't it?
They were quite. Yeah. Right. So another track, and then we'll get into the lineup.
Okay. So another track. Let's go with "Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah." Satan Said Dance.
My hair turns white and my face is green, but my feet are still moving. If you know what I mean. Satan, 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 Satan.
Some left field choices this month, Nez.
Yeah. Well, you said last time I was just playing bangers, so I thought I am going to go left field today.
I wasn't
I'm gonna
complaining. I can't imagine I was complaining about the bangers.
I thought I'd mix it up. You know, sometimes you've got to mix it up.
That's true, yeah. Okay, fair enough. All right, so speaking of mixing it up, who is first support act at your dream gig?
It's such a tough one because I find it really hard to sort of order bands. Do you know what I mean? Put them in like in a list, because then it's always like the headliner's the best act. And obviously you want the headliner to be the best act, but if this is a dream gig, then all acts are the best acts.
Okay, all right.
But wouldn't it be great if you was at Christmas? It's Christmas, so imagine it. It's Christmas. You're in Hebden Bridge, and the first band on stage is led by Jarvis Cocker. So Pulp Reunion to open up the gig.
So your support act in the 500 cap venue is Pulp.
Yeah, man. Mate, I've never seen Pulp. I've never seen them. And I actually was having this conversation with my girlfriend the other day in the car, and she was like, we were talking about Leeds and Reading Festival, and I was telling her about the ones I've been to and the ones we've played. And she was at one, which I never got to play. I think it was 2011. And I was like, no way, you went to that one, because the Strokes played, right? And then after the Strokes, Pulp came on. So imagine that, the Strokes, then Pulp. And she was like, yeah, I watched the Strokes and then went home. And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I've actually got exactly the same story. I went to Isle of Wight Festival, and the Strokes were headlining, and Pulp was subbing. And I'd literally just turned 18, I think. So I was like, hey, I can legally drink now. So I'm there queuing for the bar, had a pint. Well, I'll go back to the tent, get a few more drinks. Who's on now? Pulp. I only know a few tracks. And since then, they've become one of my favourite bands. And obviously, you can't see them now. So I was at a festival when they were playing. Didn't bother.
You see, that's just it blows my head that I've never seen them, and obviously I love Jarvis Cocker, but it blew my mind that.
It's one of my biggest musical regrets. That
I know. I was saying to her in the car, I was like, no way did you walk away when Pulp were just about to go on. And the thing is, she loves Pulp as well, but she obviously just didn't feel it in that moment. But I was gutted. I was gutted.
Yeah, it's a bad one. It is a bad one. So you got Jarvis playing. Is it a
Jarvis playing with Pulp opening up? Oh yes.
Is it a greatest hits set, or is it a sort of a deep dive?
I think you'd have to go greatest hits. I mean, it's festive, isn't it? So it's got to be greatest hits. In fact, every artist who is on this gig are going to play greatest hits.
Okay,
there we go.
Is Lamac DJing all night in between bands? Is that
so Lamac in between all bands, DJing all night long, and then Pulp take to the stage.
All right, okay. So we've had Pulp. We're sipping a delicious Tuborg or craft lager alternative. Lamo's just stepped up. He's about to press play again. This next track is what he's going to play. What you got for us, Nez? What's Lamo got for us?
So he would be playing Too Much Love by LCD Soundsystem.
It's all the same when it's morning, and your ball rings still ignoring everything. No memories to remind you of the old you, nothing for it. Just keep it up when it's too much love, too much love, too much. When it's too much love.
Another good choice. Another bit of a curveball there. You really have gone like, all right, this week, this month.
I know it's not the banger from that album, but it's a great track, and I think it's number 2 after Daft Punk is playing in my house. So it's a great little tune, and I thought, let's put it on. Let's go curveball again.
That whole album, I actually listened to it a few weeks back for the first time in ages, and I forgot how it's just a great album, start to finish.
Honestly, I would say that they're probably all singles on there, but from start to finish, it is an amazing piece of work. Tribulations being a great, great song. If we could ever work with anyone in terms of like recording, James Murphy from LCD Soundsystem all day long. I love I love everything he's ever done, really, especially in terms of production and sounds and how he pushes things.
Well, I'm sure he's a fan of the podcast. So if you're listening, James, how many acts, by the way? How many acts are playing your perfect gig? Forgot to ask this.
I would say 3.
Classic.
I would
classic.
say classic. You can't go wrong with 3.
Any 4 more than that, and I think that's a bit much, isn't it?
Because you've got to remember, when you go to a gig, people like to also spend the first 45 to an hour in the bar, and then they go on. But if there's a band on straight away, say if it's a 4-band lineup, you kind of feel guilty for not going to watch the first band. So you just keep it strict, wouldn't you? 3 bands, no messing.
Yeah, that makes sense, I think. Okay, so who's second? Pulp have been on. Well, scrappy openers, so Pulp.
Pulp, yeah, scrappy openers, Pulp, Jarvis Cocker. And then, guess what? Well, James Murphy is there because LCD Soundsystem are on next.
Of course they are, yeah. Who the fuck is headlining if these 2 are supporting, mate?
Oh, you wait. I think it might be a curveball, but honestly, Pulp, and then, so it's like, oh yes, nostalgia, and then LCD Soundsystem, which again could be classed as nostalgia now, come in with the dance bangers.
Okay, so what sort of length are the sets here? How long has each band got?
Well, if it's just the hits and it's just start to finish, I would say you'd probably want to see them for an hour, but to make the gig even more exciting, you do it for 45 minutes so that people want more.
And then you got like a sort of 20-minute, half-hour changeover between each band?
Exactly. So like each set's 45 minutes. It's wall-to-wall singles. Pulp, LCD Soundsystem, wall-to-wall singles. Steve Lamac's in the middle, DJing. Bing Crosby's in the audience.
Of course.
We're there. What else can you do?
Yeah, works for me. Okay, we'll play a track just to raise the stakes even higher, and then we're gonna find out who the headliner is of this perfect gig.
Exactly. So the next track to play will be Parquet Court's Sunbathing Animal.
Another good track. Great band as well.
Oh, mate, honestly, yeah. They're a great, great band. I'm a big fan of a majority of their albums, to be fair. So
I'm always surprised by how many albums they have. I think because they weren't that big over here for the first couple, you do sort of forget.
Yeah, they've got so many, but I mean, Light Up Gold for me is a massive masterpiece. I think.
That's
and
quite old now as well, isn't it?
That one's old. Yeah, that's what I first got into them listening to that album, and then I've listened to pretty much everything else they've done. Really, they're a great band, though. I actually saw them live in Leeds once. Saw them live, and they were amazing.
And you said to them, "Why aren't you playing in Hebden Bridge?"
I did say that to them, but I had to actually when we were watching them, and it was 5 minutes before we were on stage, so I had to then run across the festival site to find the rest of the band to get on stage, and then. I remember that gig actually because I wrapped myself in the mic lead by some kind of like accident. And,
like a dog
fell over.
tied to a post.
Literally, I like lassoed my legs and fell over mid-song, and everyone else around me was just looking, and like it felt like I was going down in slow motion. I'd had a big night the night before. I had a big night. So
Did
I
you
guess
play
that
it
might
off?
have.
Did you manage to style it out, or was it just
I
full
think
like
I
have to
styled it out.
stop?
I kind of like once I was down there, I kind of used the floor as a prop, so I did a bit of sliding around.
Yeah,
then I got back
right.
up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I was like, well, I'm down here now, so I must make this look good because I've already lassoed myself. So they might think it's a trick.
Yeah, they've
know?
gone back and they're going, oh, he did this great thing where he pretended to get tangled up in the bike lead.
I know, and you never, like, people might request it. So maybe I have to practice it again.
I was going to say, could you do it on cue, or was it a spur of the moment?
I don't know. It's definitely a spur of a moment sort of like little dance move, but I reckon I could pull it off.
Fair enough. Who's the worst clash you've had when you're playing a festival? Because I always think this with bands, like when you see like a small band playing when a huge band are also playing, and I'm like, God, I bet they wish they could see that band instead of playing.
Yeah, I think one of the first times we played one of the bigger festivals, I think it might have been Reading. We were walking over to stage, and it was the first time we were like filmed as well. Actually, I think it was in my first band, The Neat. And we were walking over to stage, and I could just hear the Yeah Yeah Yeahs coming on stage, and I was like, "Oh, brilliant!" And they rarely played in the UK, and I think it was like their farewell tour, or they don't really gig much, do they? So when the Yeah Yeah Yeahs were coming on, I could just see Karen O on like the big screens, and I was like, "Brilliant! Now we've got to go and play."
Well, you saw a bit of it, technically.
Yeah, I
saw
saw
the
it.
Yeah-Yeahs.
I definitely had some orange juice from their dressing room.
Well, there you go. What more could you want, really?
I know. I accidentally ended up in their dressing room, and I think I had some orange juice.
You think you had some orange juice?
I think so, yeah.
What, you think it was orange juice, or you think you drank it, or both?
Well, I think it was orange juice because it was orange. And I definitely drank it.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So it could have been anything orange.
Could have been anything orange, but you don't get many orange drinks, do you?
That's true. I was about to say it could have been, and the only things I can think of that are orange are like Fanta and Orangina, both of which are orange-based.
And it wasn't fizzy. It wasn't fizzy. It might. I think it had bits in it, so that only could be.
Well, let's hope it's orange juice then, because otherwise it's something pretty horrible, isn't it?
Otherwise, it could just be a pint of piss. But I can't imagine they drink piss. So
you can't. No, neither can I actually. So yeah, probably on the ball, I think. On which note, let's segue ever so gently away from piss and into the headliner of your perfect gig, Mez. Who is it?
Exactly. So the headliner is. So just imagine this, right? We've started with Pulp, as we know. LCD Soundsystem come on with the bangers, and then everyone's like in this banging mode, and then we just bring them down. Leonard Cohen.
Jesus Christ. I'm not sure anyone else is going to... I mean, if the tickets are well priced, I think you might get people in for this, but I'm not sure if anyone else is going to like the pacing, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's Christmas, isn't it? The pacing can be all off.
True, I guess. So yeah, actually, so you do get excited, don't you, at Christmas? And then you have the big dinner, and you're in a bit of a haze after that. So it's almost mirroring the vibes of Christmas Day itself.
Exactly why I've done it. And,
I'm sure it
Pulp,
is,
yeah, definitely. Pulp have come in with the classics, LCD Soundsystem. Everyone's sort of emotional and happy. And then Leonard Cohen comes on. It's just him and a guitar. And everyone's sort of like their tears of joy are out in the air. And everyone's loving it. And the lighters are out. And then we all go to the bar and we order old-fashioned spiced rum and coke, new craft beers, and we play pool. Everyone plays pool. And then, the ghost of Marquis Smith is in the toilet, on toilet patrol.
Of course he is, yeah. And then you go out and you think it's all over, and a guy comes on stage with a harmonica and starts slapping his belly.
Exactly.
Encores. Where do you stand on an encore?
I'm never a fan of encores, only because I find it as a band, it feels sometimes quite forced. I like to just play the gig and end on like a massive high, and then sort of like come off and then go and talk to everyone in the crowd and stuff. I often think like encores can seem staged, because sometimes when you're watching a band, it's like they go off, but you can still see them in the doorway because they know they're coming on for an encore. It's
well,
not
I
as
think
if
that's the issue, isn't it? That's the issue, is they are staged now because everyone expects them. So
exactly. So the crowd aren't asking for an encore, but the fact is that they're still stood in the fucking door, so then they're going to come on anyway. So it just looks a bit staged.
Yeah, the crowd are there like, well, they're going to come back on, and the band are there like, well, we're going to go back on. So you just have to wait for 30 seconds to. But also, I think the issue is if you don't do an encore because you're like, look, we don't want to do an encore because everyone knows that it's not real. Then you don't do one, and then everyone in the crowd's like, well, they didn't even come on for an encore because it's almost part of the gig now, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. I mean, we have done encores, and they've always been fun, but like we've only ever done them when we felt like it's the right time to do them. And I think if you're doing encores all the time, then it just seems a bit staged because for an encore to really work, you want the crowd to be calling you back, and then you give it to them again. But if you already know that you're going to do it, then the passion's already gone then, right?
Well, exactly. I remember the first gig I went with my dad to see Madness at the Brighton Centre, and they did an encore, and I remember being sort of behind the curtain because they had visuals for the encore. You know, they had like a screen behind them. And I remember saying to my dad, like, well, how have they put that together? Like when they didn't think they were coming back on? I was like 11 at the time, and my dad had to explain to me that everyone knew there was going to be an encore, and I felt so betrayed.
There you go, you see, you'd clocked it, and that's what I'm talking about.
So no encores at your perfect gig then?
Well, you wouldn't really need them with those sets, would you?
That's true, yeah.
You know?
Maybe you can have an encore if they really wanted it, and then they're going to come out and play a non-single, and you're going to know it's improvised, aren't you? You know, like exactly. They've played all the hits, and then everyone wants an encore. So
the encore could be all of them on stage.
Yeah?
Do you know what I mean? Just doing a little jam. That'd work. Jams are cool.
I don't know if those three bands are going to jam very well.
Imagine it, though. Just imagine it.
The absolute mess.
It would be messy, but at least you know it wouldn't be staged. Because let's face it, this is the only time they've played on the same bill, I think.
Right, have you got another song for us, Mez?
Yeah, of course. Let's go with... Do you know what? Let's go with Pulp and Disco 2000.
You didn't notice me at all. And I said, let's all meet up in the year 2000. Won't it be strange when we're all fully grown? Be there 2 o'clock by the fountain down the road. I never knew that you'd get married. I would be living down here on my own. On that
That's my karaoke song. If I'm ever forced into karaoke, yeah. Love that song.
That's funny, 'cause my karaoke song is also a Pulp song, but I sing Babies.
That's a good one as well.
A banger in it, so yeah, that's weird that both of our karaoke songs are Pulp.
Well, it means if we ever do karaoke, we can do it together.
Well, that's
a Pulp masterclass.
Well, we'll do karaoke podcast, won't we? Do you know what I mean? We can do anything we want.
So horrible, wouldn't it? Can you imagine ever wanting to listen to someone else do karaoke on a podcast?
Imagine it.
Jesus.
Well, we'll do it in the flesh. We'll do it in the flesh, mate.
Yeah, well, as soon as we're able, we'll get some 7% wanky craft beers and sing some Pulp together.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. The gig is done now. You've been drinking the night away. The gig's done. They've come on and done their weird encore. You played some pool. Even Steve Lemac's got tired. You know, he's digging into that satchel of his, and he hasn't got any more bangers left. So the lights have come up. It's time to go. What food are you going to get after the gig?
Well, obviously you've got to go with a classic, haven't you? So, like, everyone knows that after a gig, the best food is chips and cheese.
Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah,
chips and cheese with a selection of different pots, you know, like the pots that the chippies do. So I'm thinking everyone would go in and get like chips and cheese and they'd be like, can I have like a selection of all of your sauces? So we're talking mushy peas.
Yeah, they always get really annoyed at you doing that, don't they?
Yeah, mushy peas, curry sauce, gravy, baked beans.
These are not sauces. Only like one of these has been a sauce.
No, I meant like the pots. They do them in pots. They're wet, aren't they?
But you said sauces, and they're like beans and mushy peas. That's not a sauce. You try putting that in a
Yeah.
sauce bottle, it's not going to come out, is it?
Yeah, but but come on, they're wet, and anything wet is a sauce.
Anything wet is a sauce. My favourite sauce with chips, especially when I'm pissed, is burger sauce.
Good one.
And I still don't even really know what's in it. It's
Well,
just sort of
burger
like
sauce.
pink, isn't it? Weird pink sauce.
Isn't it like 3 parts tomato ketchup, 1 part mayonnaise, and then some gherkins?
It could be.
Is
I mean,
good?
that sounds good. I'm into that, so that would make sense.
Well, there you go. That's my burger sauce anyway.
Great. Well, I'll try that out. It's been so long since I've drunkenly eaten chips. I don't even know what it's like anymore.
Oh, mate. Chips and cheese, though. It's the one thing. Because, like, the chips stick together with the cheese because the cheese is melted.
Well, I'm a southerner, and my mate went to uni up in York, and when I went to visit him, it was the first time I'd drunkenly had chips, cheese, and gravy. And
oh, man.
I yearn for it at all times now. It's hard to find in London.
I bet it is, but how good was it when you tasted that?
So good. Like, just incredible.
Yeah.
And it kind of, the chips sort of become this sort of mush that's just held together with cheese, and you barely have to chew.
Sometimes they just also it's pre-grated cheese, isn't it? So like they put it on and then they microwave it, so it's like it just goes over the chips, and then you're like, well, what sauces have you got? And so you go mushy peas, curry sauce, gravy. You get them all on it, and you just eat it.
I'm really hungry now.
Well, I know that's the hangovers, isn't it? We needed chips.
Yeah. Just discussing chips at length while hungover is some kind of torture, isn't it?
I know, right? You can't beat chips, though.
Right, have you got another track to sort of round us off?
All right, so let's play "The Boy with the Arab Strap" by Belle and Sebastian.
Something to speak of the way you're feeling. The crowds are assembled. Do you ever feel you've gone too far? Everyone suffers in silence, a burden. The man who drives many cabs down in Old Compton, the Asian man, with his love-hate affair, with his racist clientele.
This hangover is really making you feel things, isn't it, Mez?
It is.
That was quite whimsical. That wasn't the normal, the punk banger. No, that was the sort of a whimsical end.
It was nice. It's a nice way to end, isn't it? And it's a
Very
Sunday.
soothing.
Let's end on a soothing song. And that song is a lovely song. Do you know what I mean? So let's end on it.
Now we have a bit of an issue because we're recording this ahead of time, and there's a potential that we'll have a jingle this month.
Yeah.
So I just want to flag to anyone listening, if there wasn't a jingle at any point in this episode, there will be one next month, and it's going to be worth the wait. And if there was one, then is it Mick that's putting it together?
Yeah, my brother Mick, who plays guitar in life, is putting it together, and I think we're going to be singing Yorkshire Puddings over it.
There you go. So if there is one this month, then I want to shout out to Mick for putting that together at very short notice, because, this podcast takes over everyone's lives that touch it.
Exactly.
Right. That's the perfect gig sorted then. I'll see you there this Christmas, Hebden Bridge.
Imagine it, man.
Drop me on as a message if you want to go. It's going to be quite hard to put the lineup together, but I'm sure we'll manage.
Oh, it's an easy one, really.
I think it probably gets... I guess LCD would probably be the easiest, right? Followed by Pulp, I'd say. And then obviously Leonard Cohen is going to be the toughest.
Leonard Cohen, we'd just have to have a hologram, wouldn't we?
Yeah, unless we can, I don't know, work some voodoo magic.
Well, yeah, this is it. And it is Christmas and it is magical, so who knows?
The Christmas miracle. Bing Crosby in the audience waiting to get resurrected, and we pick Leonard Cohen instead. He's going to be fuming.
Yeah, exactly. But then, that's what Christmas is about.
That's true. It's about shirking Bing Crosby. Right, that is all we've got time for this month.
All right,
we'll be back. We'll be back next month for the same brand of oddness. with a jingle about Yorkshire puddings, which may already be here. So yeah, I've been and continue to be Jake, and this is Mez from Life, and you were listening to Mez's Sunday Lunch.
Yes.